Let's continue that conversation with Eric leading us, but let's hear perspective from those organizations that have been embracing this proactive approach. We'll be listening in and again, engage with us as we get perspectives from a regional perspective rather. From our friends from Damian Leach will take us from Singapore sharing his perspective. Scott MacLellan from UK will also share his perspective. And of course, Zach Evans from North America will also be here to share. Let's listen in, engage, and see how are they navigating the reactive to proactive, and at some point they are definitely succeeding. Let's again take Eric back on stage and hear from our friends.
Security teams no longer have the luxury of waiting. The best teams moved first, shifting from reactive defense to proactive strategies. They overcame major challenges in exposure management and risk reduction, and in return gained real business outcomes, fewer incidents, faster response, and stronger resilience. Zach Evans is Chief Technology Officer at Xsolis, bringing 25 years of tech experience. He leads digital transformation and security strategy, driving innovation that powers smarter healthcare decisions through advanced technology and secure, scalable solutions.
Hello, and we are back. I'm Eric Noss, and I'm here with Zach Evans, CTO of Xsolis. Zach, you want to tell us a little bit about your role at Xsolis and the type of responsibilities you have?
Absolutely, Eric, and thanks so much for having me today. So at Xsolis, we're a healthcare artificial intelligence company that's really focused on the US healthcare market and reducing friction by using data to drive insights. And so as Chief Technology Officer, one of the things that I oversee is our security and compliance function, and we've been a partner with Trend for several years to help really satisfy those needs.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here.
Absolutely.
So looking back on your journey, what was the tipping point that made your team shift from a reactive approach to a more proactive one?
Eric, actually for us, it was really the needs of our clients. So our clients entrust us with a tremendous amount of protected health information about millions of patients that are a part of the US healthcare system every year. And so our clients expect us to be able to treat that data and secure that data at the highest of standards. And so as their needs changed and their asks of us changed, we really had to move from that reactive stance to a much more proactive stance to be able to meet their demands.
So it's almost like you're reacting to what the business outcomes are, what your customers are asking of you, and applying that to what your proactive strategy is.
That's right. That's exactly right. You know, at Xsolis, security really kind of permeates our entire organization. It's part of conversations at our board level all the way down to our frontline staff level. And so we really needed to be able to drive those business outcomes and really give our clients a strong sense of security that we were going to protect their data with as sensitive as it is.
Makes complete sense. Awesome. So you kind of work in healthcare. We have actually another client that has responsibilities for healthcare over in London. We're going to send it over to Stuart MacLellan, CTO of NHS.
Thank you very much, Eric. I'm Jonathan. I'm here in London at Trend Micro in the UK, and I'm delighted to welcome Stuart MacLellan, CTO of NHS South London and Maudsley NHS Foundation Trust. Nice to see you, Stuart.
Nice to see you. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah,
Good.
Thank you for coming in. So I'd like to start by asking you about transforming your strategy from a reactive cybersecurity strategy to a proactive one. What's been the catalyst that's made you move to a more proactive strategy?
I think the thing that we have really focused on within SLAM is that ability to drive our thinking to be different around how we deal with incidents. You know, too often we've been on the back foot and having to have things happen and alerts coming through, and now we're seeing that viewpoint where we want to switch the game to be on the front foot, so we can see things materializing before they happen, so we can push our defense out a bit further and give the trend products give us that information that we can see within our infrastructure. Our infrastructure is vast. We've got a really dynamic workforce that moves around the whole of South England and across the world. So we do need to protect them.
So Stuart, we live in an increasingly digitalised healthcare environment, don't we, where a lot of patient systems are underpinned by digital technologies. So how have you gone about looking at what exposures you've got to risk and mitigating that with the trend products?
Yeah, the trend products that we have been an eye-opener really in recent, with the recent releases in the product space has really enabled us to see the risks holistically. We are like a lot of organisations, we've got infrastructure on premise, we've got infrastructure in the cloud, we've got a global workforce, so we've got different postures and different aspects that we need to look and manage that risk. We now have that ability to be more dynamically assessing risks as things change and as information becomes aware, whether it's from colleagues around the system that give us that information, it all comes back and is underpinned by a trend portfolio that means that my team can be more agile and dynamic about dealing with issues and more proactive.
And dynamic and proactive is the key there, isn't it? It's no longer the case of ticking a box for compliance and that kind of thing. It's a day-to-day task, and you need to be on it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah,
absolutely. We are getting threats all the time, and at no greater time we are getting more data now than we've ever had from everything in the cyberspace. So much so that I'd say that it's probably the cyber data boom, as we see, is probably overtaking data in any other sphere. Mm-hmm. It's massive in our organisation, the amount of data we're generating.
Okay. So we've established that we live in a digitalised healthcare environment where service outages can cause issues, and we've talked about being proactive. But obviously we know that budgets are stretched in the NHS here in the UK. So how have you gone about making the case for budget to be made available to be proactive and to look at cyber risk exposure management, Stuart?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question because we do have a limited budget, as we know, and everyone, all the colleagues that are watching online have the same sort of issues that we have. But it's about being smart and being able to sell the story to a board. At no other time, the board is more aware of cyber, and that's a maturity that's coming on within our organisation, and we're taking them on that journey. I think they understand the threat and the risk because they've had incidents that have come on, and we're very transparent about that because that's something that we all have to be transparent about, risks and incidents when they do occur. That's the only way you're going to get them on board and into that journey, because it is a journey of investment into products. Mm-hmm. There is a fine line because we need to make sure that the product space is very coherent and all being surfaced in the right way, which we are seeing now with the trend product. Mm-hmm. And that helps sell the story because ultimately we can take out waste by removing dispersed systems, and it's great news what we've seen recently with Trend and the open AI capacity, or the open source capability that they've created is going to help no end, because it's not just about the Trend product, they're opening it up to everything now, so it's going to really help the industry and the teams on the ground, so it's great news from me.
So a proactive approach, like a game of chess really, staying one
Absolutely.
step ahead of the adversary, as it were. So Thank you very much, Stuart. Thanks for
problem.
joining us today. And with that, it's back to you, Eric, in the studio in Montreal.
Wow, great to hear from Stuart and how he thought about his proactive security program. But it's not all easy said and done. Zach, I'm sure that there were some roadblocks that you encountered as you implemented your strategy. How did you go about that?
Yeah, so look, one of the biggest things we had to be able to do was really to kind of separate the signal from the noise, right? Anyone that's been in security for any period of time, especially in a reactive environment, knows that you just get inundated with alerts. And so by moving to that more proactive strategy and really leveraging many of the tool sets that Trend brings to the table, we were able to really focus on those issues that needed the most focus when they needed it, to address the issue before it even became any type of a true risk. That was a huge roadblock for us to be able to clear.
It's about getting your visibility in order first.
Absolutely right,
Yeah.
yes.
Makes a lot of sense. So now we're going to head over to Singapore. We're going to talk to Damian Leach, who's CIO at Seaco, and see how he's dealing with proactive security.
Thank you, Eric. This is Shen from Trend Singapore. It's a great pleasure for me to have Damian Leach, Global CIO from Seaco, to join us today. Every organization aims for proactivity and cyber resilience, but the transitions from being reactive to proactive was never easy, and I know that Seaco has truly interesting story about cultural, technological, and also process change on cybersecurity. What were the key driving factors, Damian?
Thanks, Ren. Pleasure to join you today. So Seaco is proud to celebrate its Diamond Jubilee this year. We have over 24 global offices in both mature and emerging markets. And we also integrate with over 500 shipping ports and depots around the world. You could say that the perfect storm culminated in our move to proactive security. And when I joined Seaco, I asked for a simple global threat intelligence report across all our systems. It was immediately apparent that our fragmented security tools were not modern or unified and lacked the features and capabilities I needed. I think it's also fair to say that senior management were largely unaware of the cyber attacks and the vulnerabilities and the risks we were managing in IT across the group. This was really the tipping point that I needed to meet the vision and strategy for digital transformation and change. The modern approach to security tools is to adapt a unified global platform approach to tool architecture, simplifying whilst unifying their telemetry and improving controls, also infusing AI and machine learning to drive better data insights.
Adding to that, managing an ever-expanding attack surface is another significant challenge for many cybersecurity leaders nowadays. What were the major roadblocks that you have faced and how do you actually tackle them, Damian?
My first task was really to create a company culture and mindset that embeds security into everyone's responsibility. I had to move our global IT team from being largely tactical and transactional to strategic. And we're now focused only on delivering solutions for the business that create higher value to them. Seaco needs to be more data-driven, and we need to increase profitability and improve operational efficiency. And we're looking at ways to automate manual processes, and IT can be really critical on that journey to support that. As a certified AI professional, I also wanted to create an AI-ready enterprise to keep us competitive. In my move to reduce risk, I also wanted to be 100% cloud. And I also wanted to introduce mobility device control, understand whether an account was compromised, and also restrict access to AI tools that were not approved to reduce data leakage risk. We needed a unified proactive platform that supported our vision and strategy, whilst investing in a security operations center to provide eyes on glass that we needed to stay ahead of the attackers. Proactive defense is never an easy feat, but I'm very pleased to say with the TrendVision One platform, we're in much better shape. Not only can I certify our operational team and remediate to an approved security framework like MITRE, ISO 27001 or NIST, but I can also benchmark our progress against peer organizations. I love the ability I have to workbench security incidents, even summarize actions that are recommended to be taken using the generative AI capability in the Vision One platform. This provides me and my team consumable executive level data points and control to continue to raise awareness.
Thanks, Damian. Glad to know the ability to help companies like Seaco to stay ahead of cyber risks and make an informed decision within the organization. Now, cost plays a key important factor during the evaluation process. How do you manage to shift cybersecurity from cost center to business enabler and embed them as part of the business strategy instead of just a compliance checklist, Damian?
For me, moving Seaco and the IT team from being tactical to strategic was a significant challenge, as it represented a shift to a growth mindset for my global IT team. We needed to focus on what we delivered and made sure that it was valued to the organization by reporting on our cybersecurity tools, raising awareness to my executive peers, and running education sessions and so forth. I also reported directly into my CEO and built security into every conversation I had with the business. In terms of value realization, it can really be summarized in these 5 points. Number one, we were able to collapse 6 tools into one. Number two, we were able to deliver the AI and machine learning applications into the organization that we have certified as safe and restrict those that are not. Number three, we're able to understand the threats on our estate while meeting our strategic vision of 100% cloud. And number four, we're able to move from reactive to proactive security, analyzing not only internal but external insight from the dark web and threat actors. And number five, the ability to manage our accounts, endpoints, platforms, network, mobility, and communication systems, as well as all the gaps in between them as a single unified experience. And that was critical for us. The value of a modern AI-infused unified security platform really speaks for itself. The Trend Vision One platform helped me make the art of the possible a reality.
Thanks, Damian. Your insights were truly enlightening and we greatly benefited from your perspective.
Pleasure.
Thank you once again, Damian. Back to you, Eric.
And we're back here in Montreal. It's so interesting to see consistencies across, Singapore and London and North America. Zach, I'm sure you've seen a lot of similarities as well, and we heard from Damian as well. Tying back to business outcomes. Is that something that you can relate to as well?
We absolutely can. We're a fast-growing SaaS company with client needs that are constantly changing. And so one of the largest business outcomes that we've had by making this shift is the ability to scale our security operations through technology, through the smart application of technology, rather than just having the only solution be adding headcount, which as a fast-growing organization, that's a huge business outcome for us.
And something that's measurable too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you're tying back what you're doing for your program and finding measurements within and tying it back to
That's right.
how you're implementing.
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, Zach, I could talk to you all day, but I think they only gave us like 15 minutes or so. It's been so great to be here and meet you today and hear from our other security and technology leaders all over the world. Thanks for being here, Zach.
Thanks again, Eric. I really appreciate it.